Hey everyone, welcome to Stuff I Never Learned from a School Book. If you're looking at the bearded one, it must be 7 o'clock Central, 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific, 2 out in Hawaii, 5 a.m. out in Indonesia, and about 9 a.m. out in Australia. Welcome everybody to Stuff I Never Learned from a School Book. As I said, my name is Tom Springer and I'm your host. If this is your first time here, welcome to the show. Feel free to comment anything you want inside the chat. If you have questions, whatever else, feel free to ask them, and I will do my best to get them answered by myself or by my guests. If for some reason we kind of freeze up, just kind of hang with it. I get the feeling that we might break something here a little bit. Either she or I might have a tendency to break something tonight. I actually brought in both my shungites, so we'll see how this goes. If you are a repeat offender, yes, Rosie, hello, I see you. Welcome back. Yeah, also known as my family, those that watch us and are keep coming back for the squirrel moments. Welcome back. So I took last week off, just needed a little break, but I'm back again this week, and I am actually bringing back someone who is normally a watcher in the comment section, one of the followers of us, one of the family, and we decided to bring her in as a guest. So now I don't know what kind of squirrel moments we're going to have, but I'm sure we're going to have plenty. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in Miss Wendi Treehern. So let's bring her in really quick. Hi, Wendi.
Hi.
So Rosie's already popping in and saying hi. So hi.
Hi, Rosie.
Miss Kathy's popping in and saying hello to everyone as well. Hi, Kathy. So so a lot of people know who you are the same way I do through sitting on the other side of this and actually being where all the comments are at. Um, and we talked and kind of got to know each other a little bit. And we're like, okay, now it's just time to come on the show because there's just too much stuff going on. Um, so you were dumb enough to say yes. That's your fault. Remember, you're the one who said yes. So you'll have yourself to blame. But do me a favor and introduce yourself and then let everyone know who you are, what you do, and how you came about doing, like how long you've been doing it and so on.
All right. So my name is Wendi Treehern. Boelke is the married or past life. We'll just say last name. Um, really, I've just been traveling with my dog and unprogramming my family traumas and married life and trying to just learn to exist and be okay doing that. Learn discernment because not everybody was out for my highest good, and it took a lot of brick walls for me to understand that and learn to say no and walk away and just be okay with that, to be
Yeah.
honest. But traveling, talking to trees and trying with animals, they're a little harder, and just
Animals.
learning. They are, but the water and trees, they're amazing, and anybody but my dog is pretty good at talking to me. I can't hear them. I just get a sense of their feelings, if that makes sense. I seem to be like an activator, amplifier. Um, I don't want to say a karma tester because that's really up to them.
Yeah.
I don't dish it, but depending on how a situation can be handled, that's kind of their story, if that makes sense. That's their path that they're going down.
Yeah.
I just try to pray and send love and light to them because we're all trying to live cohesively. And sometimes it gets a little tricky and sticky, and it's just fun.
Yeah. So when I'm asking this because I recently had a conversation. When I say recently, I mean literally this morning with
Oh,
someone at
cool.
work. Because you know me, I'm big on the elemental side of the house, the tree person as well that a lot of people have decided that I am. Um, what are the thoughts on the fact that some trees, not all, but some trees are actually reincarnated souls into something living compared to what they were before?
Yes,
Yeah,
I completely agree with that. I kind of think that we are trees as well. And they could be good and bad as well, just like humans. But I think that we've all been trees. I mean, to me, everything is God. Like, and we're all different versions of each other.
yeah,
That's my opinion.
yep, yeah. And I have that same. thought concept.
Hmm.
And it really comes down to me because of the fact that um, growing up, before I knew I had anything, I've always been drawn to nature, just back to life. I've always been around nature my entire life. Um, Lived on a farm for a while, lived out in an apple orchard for a while, lived always out just in the open. And I've always needed to be outside. Even now, Nikki laughs at me because I'm
Same. Yeah.
much better outside than I am inside. Um, but I just always had the feeling. And then when I talk to some of the people that I know, um, they've they're of the same thought process that trees have souls, but they're brought from something else or for someone else, whatever else. And then they also talk about the lore, the mysticism, whatever else behind the knock on wood. You know,
Yeah.
so
That's a spirit. Yeah.
you're actually asking for a spirit to come out and to help or to assist or to you know to
Protect you too.
right.
Yeah.
So some people some people that I know that are of that same mindset as we are, but there's some that aren't, and there's some that are just like nope, that they're it's interesting how they think they're living beings because they grow and
Hmm.
they can they drop leaves, they renew themselves every spring, everything else and stuff like that, but they don't tie that to the same thing as like how we grow or stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird how some people um,
Are disconnected.
yeah, how some people just
Hmm.
don't think that same way. Yeah, Rosie's saying I have to hurry home from work just so I can sit outside, right? I know. And that's kind of how Nikki and I are now. That during the winter it's a little harder to sit outside here in Nebraska. It's just cold and snowy and everything else. But now that it's nice and everything else, we try to make it a an occurrence, daily occurrence to go outside after we get home from work and just kind of settle down. But we do it outside.
Yeah.
That's just
Eh,
seems, that just seems to be where the grounding happens and everything else that kind of takes place.
yeah.
So, um, and for you, you travel. I mean, so you get to go outside whenever you want. So um,
Yeah. To a degree.
I'm a little jealous of that. So that's kind of crappy on my end.
Oh, that's okay. I've had good and bad adventures, so don't be too jealous. But I kind of think we're walking trees. I mean, we need the same things. We need sunlight, we need air, and we need to ground, and they help us do that if we ask. Like,
Mhm.
even when I'm traveling, I'm just like, how do you guys do this with all these loud humans, especially on the interstates? And I'm just like, teach me, please, because I'm amazed.
Have you ever seen a walking tree?
Well, a lot of humans, but I guess mangroves, whenever I was in Key West,
Okay.
they fascinate me to pieces.
Yeah.
It was life changing, honestly.
Yeah. So there actually is something that's called a walking tree. It's amazing. I don't know if you've seen them or ever. A lot of people haven't. I will tell you, if you've never seen or heard of a walking tree, go look them up. They're amazing. They literally move their roots. Like they actually they seem like they move, and they can move for pretty good distances. And Erin Bush, I had on my show a couple of times, and when she used to talk about when she used to work up and kind of caretake at the Conjuring House, one of the things I started seeing was this tree that was moving on their land. And I asked her about it, and I said, "Hey, you have a tree that moves," and she goes, "How do you know that?" I said, "Because I can see it. I'm in touch with the elementals. Work with me here." And she's like, "Yeah, we actually have a tree, and it will move like 100 feet."
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah. So if you go out and you look up walking trees, those actually do exist. It's kind of cool to watch them.
Oh, I've read about it. I just haven't had the honor yet. I'll put it out to the universe because
Yeah.
they're really good about letting me receive these things.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Like, I'm learning the names of them because when I was a kid, I was always outside. I was a wild one, and then I got domesticated. So I'm trying to wild myself. But yeah, me and trees have a long history. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
One almost killed my ex-husband, and it was pretty. I mean, but he came back to life. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh about that, but
Wow. And then we're going to the dark side.
it was the tree to heaven, and he every time he moved to a house, he would just chop them all down. Well, this one was pretty angry about it, and it was probably a good I don't know, 20, 24 inches, and it hit him in the head.
Oh,
And he was probably like an inch from hitting a brick on the ground. Like he had an indent of his head, and it was a miracle that he didn't just crush his head open. But the God wasn't ready for him to die yet, so he came
yeah.
back.
So Rosie said, "Will the tree walk off the property, or will they stay?" The ones that I have seen stay on the property. The ones that you'll watch on the video, if you go out and watch them, they're actually the ones that it looks like they're walking, but they're walking they're moving into where sunlight is.
Ooh,
Like they're basically following the path of sunlight so they can stay in the sun, and then you'll see them slowly go back. So they really do drift and they drift back. But like the one on the Conjuring place, this actually stays on the property, but it's a large property. But the ones that you can go out and look at online, they literally move with the sunlight, and it's because they're trapped underneath larger trees and they don't get the sun they need, so they're literally called walking trees because they move themselves into the sunlight. So it's pretty
that's
cool.
cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty.
I'll have to ask my teacher about that one.
Yeah, I'm such a nerd. The stupid things I know, I tell you, it's
That's
just.
not stupid.
I
Kara
know.
Daniels would be like, yes, he's smart.
Yeah, we had discussions about stuff, and at work they always call me a nerd. I know, it's fine. I'm okay with that. So
Exactly.
is it just trees, or is it just all living things? Are you just do you just communicate with all the living? Like I know you're working on animals, but is it like the flowers? Is it like or, things, or just okay?
Everything.
So it is everything.
Walks well. Like, I doctor, it heals me. Like, I try to heal it. Rains, I pray to the water element. It cleanses me and the land. And I think it's him to wake up when I go to the
Oh, nice.
properties, if that
Yep.
makes sense. And depending on who kind of, I'm learning more about.
Oh yeah.
So we want good owners. That's what I'm trying to like pray for.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because you brought up ley lines. I don't. So right now, I don't know if I'm the one who's kind of glitching or if it's you, but one of us is kind of glitching a little bit.
Okay.
I see it as you, but I can hear you just fine. It's just the image. Um,
Okay.
but it's interesting because we just had it. Again, I talk about so many things in a day. It just drives me nuts that these are discussions that I'm at work all day and I don't talk about work at all anymore. People want to talk about it. But there was a discussion about like the ley lines that we can see that we know that are there. But then there's an I don't want to say it's a new discussion, but it is a reserved discussion about the unknown or the unseen ley
Mm-hmm.
lines.
Yes, the
Yeah, that a lot of
unseen.
people
Yes.
don't have the wherewithal or knowledge of yet, or how they work. And so I've been into that. I've been in that a lot simply because it's something new and different for me. So, and I'm thinking it's a new way for me to tap into something else that I haven't yet. So I'm really working on that side as well. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool.
look, Nikki says hi, Wendy. Sorry, chatting. Just got home.
Hi, Nikki.
And I'm trying to see. Zhang is
No
popping in to say
apologies.
hello. Hello, Mrs. Zhang. Um, all the way over from Indonesia. So hopefully everything is well over there. Rosie said, "Is that her or my Wi-Fi?" So it must have been, since I was seeing it too. You must have been kind of breaking up, but we're all good now. Um, yep, and Nick even said it's
Okay.
Wendy glitching. So, I'll,
Yeah, I got too excited.
yeah, I know. I looked right at my shungite when you started breaking. I'm like, really? So yes. So
I know I've got my shungite and shungite water. I'm trying.
yeah, I figured that was going to break. So I even warned people at the beginning of the show. People, I warned you this was going to happen. So don't say you weren't warned, unless you
Mhm.
just weren't here. But
But yeah, but talking about the ley line, so like people don't realize that it goes
right.
forward and backwards, and the people, I don't want to say the people that are in control of these stargates, they can backflow it. So whenever you have depression or like, and I'm not a medical person, so I'm not trying to take credit for any of that. You don't always know where
Mm-hmm.
those thoughts are coming from, and you can actually like tell them, get out, you're not welcome here, because it's like radio waves,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of work both ways. And if you're not careful, Like you'll start thinking they're your thoughts, and you give them strength and like
Yeah, you
acknowledgement
give
that
them a
way
purpose.
too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and I'm kind of learning that too, because whenever I'm bored and I'm scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, like
Hmm.
whoever you're reading, you start giving them parts of your battery, your life force, and then like people don't realize you're giving your power away, and you need
Yeah,
to like call that back to you.
that's something that Nikki has talked about. I've talked about, and a couple people that I
Mm-hmm.
went to when we were at MegaCon, we talked about, and I had to teach them how to basically every morning, every day, to cut those cords, give them back their power, take back your power, claim what's yours, and then if you're supposed to be in contact with them again, those lines will reconnect every day or however often you're talking to them or whatever else. Just make sure you cut them at night so you're not just gaining that energy from
Right.
them, because it could be a negative energy and you're not giving them energy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they can get in your dreams, and you can start having nightmares
Yeah,
without
yeah, it's
knowing
not yours.
why. It's creepy because I've had people get in my head, and it's like, oh
Yeah,
no,
it's not
no,
yours. It
no.
belongs to them. You're just taking on their,
Right,
because you're connected to them in some way. Uh, yep, absolutely, and
right.
that was something that is a, I don't want to say a slow thing for people to learn, but right,
Well, we've
true.
forgotten.
And Nikki says I try to do it
Hmm.
every time I'm driving home from teaching, because she makes all those connections with those kids, and
Oh, yes.
living in the same house with her, knowing when it's test day, um, that she will have that disruption, so she has to clear herself. Otherwise, she just brings all that anxiety the kids had and everything else, and it just makes her really tired by the time she gets home. So,
Right.
yep,
It takes on your body too. That was my
right.
big thing. It was absorbing everybody's energy and not understanding was angry or crying because it wasn't feeling the depths of my soul. It was learning. That's why I got into Reiki. Is I my spiritual energy,
Yeah,
or I on it
yeah.
like even the like I found a little axe rock cool, so I use that at the cords and send it back with love, and yeah,
You're
it's
okay. There you are. Yeah,
it's
I
a
say
process.
I would say it kind of broke up again, but I mean we heard
Okay,
you, we just couldn't see you again.
okay,
But I was able to hear everything. So,
okay.
and
Sorry.
Rosie said, yeah, and now you're back. She says, and Rosie says, interesting. That may be why I dream of work. So it very well could
Yes.
be. You have those
Yeah, because
connections. You haven't cut those.
right. Well, not everybody is out to make you good. Like everybody doesn't have
Right.
your best intentions. I've had a lot of people smile in my face, but they're like, the mind fuckery is real.
Yes.
Sorry.
Very true.
See, I told you I might cuss.
That's why that's way up there in that corner
Okay.
above you. Up there says parental advisory, explicit content.
But
Did
like,
you?
yeah, I've even had teachers that weren't, they did not, like, they smiled, they talked very nicely about me, but between them and I, like, they were straight up attacking me. It was crazy.
Yeah. I have to say hi to Laura really quick because Laura pops in just to say hi, but she's on her way to work. So, so
Hi,
this is her
Laura.
morning. So, hi, Laura. Go enjoy work. But thanks for checking in.
Have a
Uh,
great day.
yeah, apparently Laura and I have known each other forever. We just didn't know we knew each other forever because were from like the same area and grew up in the same neighborhood and everything else and stuff like that. So it was interesting how we found each other and then we've known each other for, I mean, years upon years.
Oh, that's
Um,
amazing.
yep. So she always pops in to say hi, and I always appreciate when she does, knowing that she's getting ready to go to work. So,
Oh,
but, but yeah, that's something that some people don't understand is when you make that heart connection.
mm-hmm.
Um, it 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 doesn't matter how much they talk to you on the outside. It really matters on what the intention is and what the thought process is inside is actually what's affecting you. You may get the
Right.
instant, oh, hi, great to see you, blah, 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 and you get that warm fuzzy. But then as the day goes on, you still have that connection, and all of a sudden you start feeling, what the hell? And
Yeah,
it's simple.
yeah,
Right.
they're
They're just,
just pulling your energy. Yeah.
right. Laura's saying, did you see the transfer to Annabelle to West Virginia? Yes, I have. Yes. Um, later on, there may be discussion about that with someone from a show I might bring on. So just be aware that I may have the Annabelle past owner or new owner possibly coming on. So just so you're aware of that.
Cool.
Yeah, I have. That's
I know,
crazy.
I love your show.
That's crazy. I mean, I'm lucky enough to find people who want to come on and come to the show because it's it. I'm not part of a network, as you know. It's
Mhm.
just um, when I first started the show, I was actually part of another programming like a network. And Zhang is actually there from the beginning as well when I started, and that's how she and I met was because of this network I was on. Um, but they were also the same. They were very controlling. Like they wanted to tell me what time slot I could have. It can only be this long, um, and they would bring me into um, like higher level discussions about the network and what's going on and everything else. But then when I gave my 2 cents worth, they telling me I was overstepping my bounds. Well, then don't ask me to come to that. So I just basically cut all that. That's why I do what I do now on my own because I get to invite who I want on. And I like the people who I bring on. So, it's a little different. Hi, Ingrid. How are you today? So Ingrid's popping in to say hello. Um, and like I get to bring on people like you because I get to run into people that I actually talk to, and that's what I like about a lot of the stuff I do is because I meet a lot of local people here too, and I like to bring
Mm.
on local people because they don't have a voice outside of however many people come through our locations, at our conventions, whatever else, and I
Keep that freedom. Your sovereignty is your, like, that's your God given right.
right, but even our conversation that we've had in the last 22 minutes that we've been on air, people have already learned so much. And there's
Oh,
already there's so much to learn, and that's why I like this show is because I don't care how dumb we sound or how much goofiness we have on it or how many squirrel moments we have, people are learning something, and that's the point of it.
right.
So I enjoy that. So that's why I'm happy you came on because you have such good feedback or you have such good information just in general, and it's kind of like a plethora of everything, kind of like what I do. That it was intriguing to go. Okay, now we got to have Wendi on to see what she wants to talk about. Let's see how many more squirrel moments we can have with Wendi, and put two squirrels on the same page.
Right?
So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. So I keep cutting you off because we keep talking about so
Yeah,
many different
you're
things.
okay.
But so outside of the discussions with the animals, which you're struggling with, which is understandable because some of them are stubborn or just don't want to share information or just you
Well,
know
it depends on your relationship with them,
yeah, and they
too.
have their own personalities and
Right.
everything else, stuff like
Well, they
that.
remember everything about you. They know everything you've done to them. They know what you've experienced, and they really don't want to trigger you at the same time. Like,
Right.
I grew up on a farm, so like I watched all of my friends were farm animals, and then I'd go to school and they wouldn't be there anymore. And my parents didn't really explain to me like we're going to be eating these, or my my biological dad was just a cruel man, or
Yeah.
he still is alive, but he, like, I watched rabbits being skinned alive and stuff, and as a child, like, that's a lot to feel and not understand. Like,
I'm
yeah.
with you. I'm with you because for 4 years of my life I lived in Rice Lake, Wisconsin, on a dairy farm, and
Mm,
we had the same thing. We had cows, pigs, chickens, rabbits, horses, kind of the whole run of everything. Pigs, we had it all. And one of the things I did was raise the rabbits. I did not know I was raising the rabbits to have them
right.
killed and to eat them. So that was a
I
little.
wouldn't.
When I figured that out, I was like, "Wait, I'm eating who?" So it
Yeah,
was rather disturbing that all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh, where did Fox
right.
go?" And all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh, I'm eating him. Oh, I'm so sad to
I
be."
wouldn't eat them. Yeah, they would try. Like, I even had a pet pig, Wilbur, and I was like, I love bacon, but I'm not eating Wilbur. Sorry.
Yeah, it was kind of the same thing because um, I was really good with the cows. I was, of course, I love the cows. We were a dairy farm, so um, if you've never snow skied behind a dairy cow while it's pulling you. That's kind of that's kind of fun. Just so you know.
That's funny. Hey, if you'd ever met my Uncle Bud, like he always told me that's how I got my freckles is I followed the cows too far, too closely and didn't clean off the poo. I was like, what? Yeah, he was he's funny. Like even makeup was bird poop. Like he had all kinds of jokes.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's interesting too because I still remember those animals. Like I still
Mhm.
remember my connection to those animals, even though I was very young.
Mhm.
But it's and to me, everything I've done. Well, okay, outside of my past career,
Yeah.
um, living on the farm was my absolute best memories. You know, it's the most fun I've ever had, because I loved it. I loved everything about it, even though it was a lot of work. I loved everything about it,
Same.
and I think it was
Same.
because it was the animals. I think it was just because
Right.
that's what I was doing.
Well,
So
it's that connection too. Like you made their life, very happy too. Because a lot of people just look at them as like trees, like they don't have any feelings or a soul. And that's my biggest thing is when people say animals don't have souls. Like, have you met my dog Haley? Like she has a bigger personality than me.
yeah, yeah. I need to answer Rosie's question really quick. Rosie
Yeah.
is asking me if I'm going to be doing readings at the booth because I'm doing Mystic Fest this year here in Omaha, Nebraska. I got picked up as a vendor. Rosie, I that's a that's a very loaded question. Um, I will tell you that my plan is not to do readings, but I will guarantee I will end up doing readings. Um, let's just say I'm not charging for readings. How's that? I
Oh,
have
cool.
no intention to. I'm simply advertising the stuff I never learned part, and I'm also advertising the home investigation part we do to help people who need help with their homes. Or they think that's something called the my Paranormal Assistance Research Society. I'm simply there for advertising, but I know how I am. I know how things happen. Someone's going to come up and they're going to start talking to me, and I'm going to instantly get a notch in my head saying, "You need to talk to this person about other things." So, will I be doing readings? Yes. Will they be on purpose? No. So there you go. Sorry, had to answer Rosie's question really quick because I saw
Never
it.
apologize. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm. I'm also curious about other things too, because I know your animal tie, I know your tree tie,
Mhm.
but it's almost like there needs to be more to it than just that. Like there's
Oh,
more.
water. I'm entangled with them all, if that makes sense. Like my name is Wendy. That's all the elements together.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I am. I mean, you know, because everyone knows. Well, most people know my history with the
Mhm.
elementals that I see here talk just like I am you.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice. But is that something you're able? How do you see them? Because people see how people know how I see them. I literally see them like I'm looking at you right now, and I hear them like we're talking. And
Oh, I wish I did.
it
I
was
feel them. I
okay.
feel them. Like I'm a Scorpio sun, Cancer moon, and a Sagittarius rising. So I'm like water. That's why I have my aquamarine on,
Oh
so
yeah,
my feelings don't mess us up too much. But I feel them, and somehow I connect with their heart space. So I usually find the guardians, the animals, the trees, like the land. I find the guardian spirit somehow. I wish I could see them. That's part of what I'm working towards.
yeah,
I used to see like animal spirits like on the other side, but it scared me, so I quit doing that. I'd be driving in the middle of the night and just be like, it's almost like a horse or a deer or something would be driving, and I'd be like, what the heck?
yeah,
And yeah, that's an experience.
yeah. I'm
But
sure.
I'm opening my mind. I'm trying to like ask my team to be like, help me get back in so I'm not from a place of fear because that's how I disconnect.
Yeah. Is everything that you? Well, I know this answer, but I'm going to ask you for the audience because I started asking a question and instantly I was bombarded with answers. So apparently, I'm only asking it for for the general audience. Um, so your connection to how do I say this? I don't want to say extraterrestrials because that's not what I'm thinking of, but just your connection with like source and with higher power and stuff like that, and everything else. How was your connection with that? Is it instantaneous? Is it something you're working at? Is it something that they just nod you all day and you're like, shush, I just need a moment of silence type of thing? Or what
They
do you?
probably do. I just have a lot of I was recently told I have a lot of chaos in here because they come in as my voice. So I'm asking to distinguish like different voices so I can start clearing out the ones that aren't for my highest good. But I do see the aliens. I know I have galactic ties and you know like the whole universe. We're all connected. I'm just still remembering if that
Mhm.
makes sense. There's so my awakening, we'll say, is partly astrology based too.
Okay.
Apparently mine's supposed to be towards the end of my life because I was supposed to be so disconnected. That's part of the Scorpio vibe is, you know, I've just had a lot of shit in my life
Yeah.
and I'm unconnecting from all of the control and fear. So they're just kind of waiting patiently and like I see the ships and stuff go by and they give me their downloads. So I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'm patiently waiting and I'm not very patient. So it's kind of it's a
So,
seesaw effect.
so you're the hurry up and wait military.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like, fine, don't talk to me straightforward. But
Right.
I'm wanting them to. So like they're talking whenever I've learned recently like the dolphins,
Mm-hmm.
they talk like they're the middleman of aliens and us.
Mm.
Yeah, and whales. So that's who I try to connect with more. And like, okay, well, unstupefy my brain, please. I'm ready. So it's, it's a process and I
Yeah.
just have to be patient and they keep telling me to do the work and I need to learn to ground and I'm just very patient or stubborn as well.
I'm curious why. I don't know if you have an answer for this, but I'm going to ask it anyways.
Yeah, go
Why
for it.
are two sea mammals what connects us to alien, which is our middle folk, rather than like something from in the air, such as birds or
Hmm.
something along the other lines? Mammals on Earth. I mean, on land. Why is it two sea mammals that connect us more to the alien than anything else?
Oh, the birds too. Like I have guardians that are birds. Like
Yeah.
my stepdad, who I call daddy, he is all the big birds and like the fae are birds, so I see them all day long. I just again, if they're talking to me, it's my own thoughts, or I'll be like, I need to go do this. I'll just get like a premonition, and they're kind of like learning, listen to your intuition and do what you're supposed to do. Because I'd be like, I don't feel like doing it, and they're like, fine, we won't quit, we'll quit offering.
That's the very basis of what I tell people. Excuse
Hmm.
me. When I tell people everybody has an ability,
Hmm.
it's the
Yeah,
very
we all have gifts.
because
Yeah.
I always tell them they're like, no, I don't. I'm like, really? Do me a favor. And this is the same example I use for everybody. When you're getting ready to go to bed, normally right when you're getting ready to go to bed, you're all ready for bed and everything else, and you're like, oh, I forgot to put this by my purse. I forgot
Hmm.
to put this by my wallet, or whatever else. And all of a sudden, you're like, no, I'll remember it tomorrow. And tomorrow morning, you walk out without it. That was literally your higher self, your whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
giving you that opportunity to not forget the next day. And you just decided to use your ego instead of your instinct, so you didn't listen.
Right. You
So
should have
yeah,
got up and did it because it's like a muscle. You like if you're not going to listen, they're not going to keep talking to you, and that's what they teach
right,
me too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's what so that's what Nikki knows this now. I used to be terrible at that. I used to be terrible.
Yep.
I used to be like, oh no, I'll remember tomorrow, and then I'd leave the freaking house, and I'd be like, why did I forget this? Um,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't listen to myself, and I even know I told myself. But now I'll be getting ready to crawl into bed. I'm like, oh, I forgot to do this. I'll just get up and I'll just walk. I'll just start going.
Right. That's
So
why you're so gifted because you actually you
I
know better.
actually listen now. Who knew?
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy talk. Um, so Rosie asked a question. Rosie is asking, so a question for either of you. When I stare at something for a while and it blends and starts to move, why is that?
Ooh. Like it goes out of focus. Maybe you're seeing past it into like its essence. I That's a good question, Tom.
Um,
What's the answer?
so I have to have an additional question for this one, Rosie. Are you? And Rosie said, and that's what I get for listening. That's what my dumbass gets for listening to my ego. Yes, because she leaves stuff all the time. She doesn't
My
actually.
ego doesn't tell
Um,
you.
So, Rosie, a follow-on question to the question. I'm going to ask a question for a question. Haha, take that. Um, you're asking when you stare at something for a while and it blends and starts to move. Are you talking living objects or inanimate objects? I need to know
Ooh,
that
yeah.
before I answer that question for you. That's a big part of this.
But
Um,
that's good that you're losing focus because that means you're seeing beyond your physical realm. So
right.
that's great.
You're actually, um,
Tapping in.
yeah. Kathy says I use post-it notes. Um,
Yeah.
and Rosie says no, a bush outside and there was no wind. Oh, that's an easy. That's a good one.
Oh, cool. Then you are tapped into the nature spirits.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep. Yep.
So you need to think, what were you thinking of? Like, did you get any feedback? Did you have like a thought or intuition while you were doing that?
Yeah. And mine for you on that is when you just kind of go. I just call it a blank stare. And I do that a lot. Um,
Say,
um, and it's a living object. What I'm literally watching is its life source or its life force moving. I'm actually watching the shimmer of it. I'm actually watching because not everything is stationary. You know, we're all made up of these little atoms and all these little bits and pieces of molecules, and nothing is stationary.
mhm.
So when you're watching that and you just kind of let it glaze over, and you're starting to watch, basically trying to look through it instead of at it, you're literally watching all those molecules move in it, and you're actually watching the life force of that object living its life. Is what you're doing. So
Good
that's
job.
so,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. But that's literally what you're watching.
yeah.
Um,
I have a really good teacher. Her name is Kara Daniels.
mhm.
She will help you like get in touch with all of those too. All
Nice.
the elementals. I highly recommend her.
Yeah, I'm debating right now on maybe taking on a new tasking, and I may sign up for a shamanic course to work on doing shaman work as well. So we'll see how that.
Oh, that's my long-term goal
Yeah,
too.
that's one that that's one that ever since I learned I had abilities has definitely been at the tip of my tongue, and what people have been telling me. Hey, by the way, I've had two now different shamans tell me, you know what you're supposed to be doing is you're supposed to be doing shamanic work, and I'm like, oh, well, alrighty.
Oh, cool.
What do you know? That's new to me.
I've been told that too. Yes.
Yeah. So, um, so she says, answering your question, no, she doesn't know what she was thinking of. She'll have to remember next time to pay attention to it.
Yeah,
So,
it's a practice.
yep.
It's yeah.
Well, hi, Jenny. How are you? Jenny's popping in to say hello to everyone. Welcome to the show. We're just kind of blah blahing about everything and anything. So feel free to jump in and ask questions and make comments and everything else. Tons of squirrel moments on this show. So feel free. Um, when your connection, wow, I can't believe I just did it with my hand. I was making a connection sign in sign language and I did not know it for a second, but I'm like, oh, I actually know what this means. When you're making your connection to alien or any type of outside of Earth life force, does it feel different than what it does when you're interacting with us? You know, with just humans. Do you have
It
it?
if I'm breathing through my heart, it does. If that makes because if I'm trying to connect with my head, they won't deal with my ego. I have to be in my heart source. But they talk to me different than I do with people because it's either my thought or it's like they'll give me a thought, or for some reason I'll watch a show or somebody will start talking. That's how they more communicate with me,
Yeah,
or songs. It's not direct just yet.
yeah. Um, Mr. Nighthawk is one of the people I was talking about, who is a shaman who told me that I need to practice my shamanism.
Yay.
He tells me, you know that you have to study for years and you will always continue to learn. Absolutely. I will never be a a master of anything. I am always going to be a student. That's why I always call myself a practicing intuitive. I will always be a practicing intuitive. That is what I am known for. That's what I'm known by. So that's what I've always taught I am. So I will never know anything outside of what I've learned that day. So Max is popping in to say hi. Hi, Max. Jenny, I'm glad you're here also to catch us live on this show. So I'm happy you're here. I'm trying to see who else. Oh, everyone else is just saying hi, so that's cool. We're all caught up. Yeah, because when I do that connection with other life, normally mine's from dimensional, talking
Mm-hmm.
to people in other dimensions, or I'll just say people because that's how I see them. In other dimensions, my shoulders, my feelings is in my shoulders, not how I hear them here in this dimension in
Oh,
my head. If they're here in this realm, when they talk to me, when I hear the spirit and everything else, it's in my head. Um, but whenever it's somewhere else, I know it's somewhere else because I feel it in my shoulders. And if I'm around other mediums, they don't sense that. They're like, "What? Who are you talking to? What's going on?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm somewhere else right now. I'm not on this one."
that's cool. I've heard all kinds of things, honestly. I've even met some that weren't good people. Not no judgment. I don't mean it like try to label them, but
That's fine.
they
Not
talked to
everybody
all
is.
kinds of things, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah, not
I'm
every,
still learning discretion and discernment, to be honest.
yeah.
So they're making me wait a little bit.
It's interesting too because I did not know. In fact, I don't even think my wife knows this yet. I guess she's going to find out. But when I start when I first started getting connection from other dimensions for people that were talking to me, I felt it in my shoulders, but I could not discern deception from good. Now I do. Uh, the If it pulls my shoulders back,
Hmm.
I'm opening up to them because they're good. If I close my shoulders forward, I'm protecting my heart
Right,
because it's a negative connotation that my body and my spirit is just picking up on. Um,
right. That's what they're teaching me too.
and Jenny's asking, is like a heaviness on my shoulders or what on shoulders? So it literally feels like there's a line that runs all the way across me. And it's almost like two fingers are pushing on my shoulders, like I'm being tapped. But it's like a constant tap. So I will feel them. It's not a heaviness. It's nothing else. When I feel dimensional stuff here in here for people who have passed, it feels like tingling in my head, and it almost feels like it almost just feels like a hum in my head. But if it's in my shoulders, it almost feels like they're just like tapping me, but like a constant tap, so I can feel the touch. And I'm like, oh, but if it my I've responded enough now. I think my higher self has decided to protect me in more ways than I know. If it touches and it pulls my shoulders back, it's a good entity. I can talk to it. If it touches me and I close, it's something I have to be aware of, but I don't disregard it because it may be something still looking for assistance in some
right.
way, shape, or form. So yes,
Well,
that's where I'm. So and
yeah,
not
because not all of them know that they're not good.
right, and not on
Yeah.
purpose. It's just something we haven't talked about. She's like, "You're keeping shit from me now." No, not on purpose. So
That's cool. See, maybe you're supposed to be reminding me that because that's part of my journey is getting back in my body because I was so disassociated or disconnected
yeah,
that that's kind of like even where they have me now, there's ticks and now I have to do like full body surgery. Like, I
yeah,
hate them. Yeah, but it put me back in my body. So thank you for the reminder.
yeah. And Williams responded with that and don't forget the heaviness is not opening up to your full abilities, and yourself is telling you to open up. So yeah,
Mm,
so there you go. Um, yeah, and so I really appreciate Nighthawk because I get a lot of information from him, but not like this. He's one of those that always sends me little tidbits of like just little things specifically through video or something else. And
oh,
so I
that's
really
cool.
appreciate it because I always open them up and look at them or listen to them or read them or do something. Um, and so he has definitely been, even though that he and I don't talk like we do on here.
Right.
We're not everyday talkers or anything else, but I'm always learning more stuff from him. So I'm really appreciative of what he sends me because he knows that I tie into his side of the Native American stuff very well, the Indigenous person very well. So I'm really appreciative that he keeps teaching me that stuff, even though we're, states and states and states away. But yet he's still willing to share with me and help teach me all the time. So
Awesome.
that's nice. Um, so that's something I guess that for you, because you're starting to go through this. Um, I don't want to call it a reawakening because it's not a reawakening. It's kind of it's almost like a rediscovery. It's
Right.
probably
Remembering. Yeah.
yeah, it's like a rediscovery for you. Um, and I don't mean this to sound negative,
No, you
but
can be blunt.
but Oh, I'm going to be. There's no doubt about that. I'm just saying I don't mean it negatively. Um, I get the I get the inkling that you are not recognizing everything that is basically subtly put to you. So it's
Mm.
basically like it needs to slap you across the face to tell you, hey, this, ooh, that was a good one. Sorry, honey.
That
Um,
was good.
um, but just
Yeah.
to tell you, I'm showing you this, I'm telling you this, you're seeing this, you're reacting to this for a reason. Pay attention to it. Because sometimes I can, and this
No,
is
you're right. Yeah.
this is Rosie's fault because she asked if I was going to do any readings. Um, but it's but for me, it's because they give you the signs, but you don't pay attention to them. They're right there, and you're just not. You're
Paying
you're
attention. Yeah.
you're you're,
And
you're
la 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 la. Yeah.
and you're like, oh, that was cool, and then
Yeah.
goes away, and then it shows itself again, like, oh, that was still cool, and then you go do something else, and finally goes, look, lady, and like grabs you by your shoulders, and goes, I'm showing you twice, so, and it's just almost
Yeah.
like it needs to, um, but the good news is, I also know you're not the only person to do that, because uh, I deal with a lot of people that do the same thing. I am, as people know, Rosie will call me out on it. I am self-proclaimed lazy, and I do not do a lot of the things that people tell me I'm supposed to do. So I'm right there with you. So, um,
Yeah.
and
Well,
Rosie,
I didn't have a. Yeah.
and Rosie's asking, how do you, the easy way to remember your last awakening in a past life? I am lazy like Tom. So yes, we are. I like I said, self-proclaimed lazy. I knew Rosie would call me out on it, and there it is. So,
You got to be careful though, because your words are that's
but it's
power.
but
Yeah. I'm the same way though. Yeah.
I know my words are power. Um, but I know that. So I identify that I am lazy. Hi, Jerica. How are you? I identify that I'm lazy, but
Hmm.
I'm not lazy to where I'm not learning. Um, I'm I have this really uncanny ability, and I think it's because of how many lives I've been told I've lived in the past and how long I've been around and everything else.
Yeah.
That I don't think I'm lazy. I just think I know it's there for me when I need it. So
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
that's why I don't practice it. I'm just like, oh yes, I already know it. So I'm not lazy. I just like I don't
But
meditate. I
yeah.
don't do a lot of that stuff. So, but
I'm the
uh,
same. But see,
yeah,
and going to that, like how you get yours naturally,
yeah,
I think I have abused mine in past lives. So they're like, until you know better, like we need to keep you at, you know, kindergarten level, if that
yeah.
makes sense. Like
Lowest common
how,
denominator is what I call it. The lowest
hmm
common denominator. You get one M&M.
hmm
Oh,
hmm
you learn something
well,
else? Here's another M&M.
yeah. Well, it's kind of like, so I was told as a child that I wouldn't amount to anything. I wasn't good. And so that's kind of what I am moving through is because they all lied. Like, I never thought I'd be traveling for the last year and a half,
Right.
and I've made mistakes, and that's okay. Those were mine to learn, and I needed them um, because I was too codependent on people,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense too. And so I just, I don't know. I ask the trees all the time, like, what am I not doing?
Right. And I will tell you that don't just rely on the trees for the answers.
Okay.
Um, I mean, as soon as you said that, I was like, tell her to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
This can only do so much for you.
That's what they tell me too.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And William saying, flesh is lazy because of the negative of this world, not your spirit. Spirit is limitless. Absolutely. Um, very true. And I think that's why you're learning again how that works and how I'm discovering more of how that works because it still strikes me when I had that first encounter with the earth elemental and it ran from me and I said, why are you running from me? And it said, because your essence is older than I am. And I was like, well, okay then.
That's cool.
That kind of made me step back. And then it decided to throw rocks at me. So I was kind of mad about that. Um,
Oh,
uh,
spicy.
Kelly has a question. She says, do the plasma beings have any messages? My son has been working with them and water. Wow. I love your son to death, Kelly, just so you know this. Um, I unless you have something, my answer is I would have to really pay attention to that because I am not paying attention to that right now. But Kelly knows that if she asks me a question, I will focus on it when I have time, and I will really delve into it, and I will see what I can come up with if I'm getting any messages at all. But um, the question is, if you have an answer for that, that's great. If not, I'm just telling her I don't at this point because I haven't focused on it. Um,
Same. I'm still learning to practice. Like even when I tell you to practice, like it's my guide saying, "Girl, are you listening to yourself?"
well, when I read the question, like all of a sudden it like rushed at me, but then because I'm doing the show, there's like a block, and it goes, "No, this is not the time to deal with this. This is not the time to to." So it blocked me from being able to do anything with this. So, um, and Kelly's son is an amazing person. Um, the ability, actually, I should pluralize that. The abilities that he owns and he has is unquestionably amazing. That it's a different, higher realm than most people I've come across. And his way to communicate is totally different than what we do. And his ability to read messages is purely his own. I mean, there's a lot of people that can read similarly to what others do. His is purely his own, and it's fantastic how his energy and his abilities work. Um, so when she comes up with questions like this, I know that he's been contacted or something has come in and something has probed enough that she is asking these questions for him. So that's why I always like to try to give answers. But when I'm doing the show, it kind of blocks me sometimes, so I don't come up with the answer right away. But so Kelly, I will try to get you an answer back on that. So um, William says, sleep with rock medicine under your pillow, and when you go to bed, speak to the rock about showing you growth. He also says rock medicine is powerful. It connects us to sacred Mother Earth. Correct.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a good morning for me every morning. Hi, Sarah. How are you? So, people who don't know Sarah, Sarah Sophia actually has her own show, and it is fantastic. She's actually up in Canada, and she does. I'm going to make this as simple as I possibly. Sorry, I'm about to plug someone really quick.
Oh,
See this
please.
name right here, up over here, Sarah Sophia. Do me a favor, everyone, go out there and you catch this name on Facebook. You like and you follow. You will not regret it. Okay. All right. So sorry, I love Sarah to death. So I got to make sure that she gets her time because she's amazing too. So
I'll look her up too.
yeah. And since I'm a one man show, I'm also reading the messages that's on the side here. So that's why I'm trying to catch up with the messages. That's why the hesitation is.
Oh no,
Um,
you're okay.
Kathy also says, "What is rock medicine? Is it like crystals?" And William responds, "With everything as spirit, Kathy, rock medicine is one of the oldest spirit medicines." So
They're
that
our
is fantastic.
ancestors. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and Kelly, yes, I see that. She says, "I'll catch up with you later." So perfect. And Sarah, you are more than welcome. I love advertising you out. Every time you post something, I automatically share her stuff out. I do that with a lot of people, but um, Sarah's I make sure because if you just go and watch Sarah, you'll be like, okay, now I just need to follow her more because it's just cool, different information and the way she goes about it. So um, Kelly says, I love rock medicine. So this is interesting to me now. So no, this is something I'm going to have to try. I do not go to sleep with rock medicine under my pillow, but now I'm going to have to because William told me to, and I listen to a lot of things William
Mm-hmm.
says, and I'm probably one of the only few people that actually call him William, not just Nighthawk. Um, but so
I
when
have
you're,
them everywhere. Yeah.
we have tons of crystals
Yeah.
everywhere. So I have to get with him specifically about if there's any specific kind of
Mm-hmm.
rock I'm supposed to be using.
Yeah. Like even in my water right now, I have the elite shungite in it,
Mm,
and just to help clear out my energy too.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've noticed recently in a lot of your messages, I'm switching back
For sure.
to our. Um, I hate calling them alien visitors because that's not fair to them.
Well, we're
Um,
all aliens, but
I
yeah, the ones in the sky.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, so our sky visitors.
Galactic, as I
Yeah,
call them.
I noticed a lot that you're starting to connect with them a lot more than you have.
Yeah.
Um, can you share kind of how that is for you, how that appears to you, how that feels to you, what that kind of takes on? Just a little bit about. I mean, is it something that you can
Yeah.
call in? Is it something that they just show up and you're like, "Oh, hi, been waiting for
I
you," type of things?
yeah, I ask them for their codes, their downloads, because I'm pretty dense. I'm not gonna lie, um, and I still have limitations with them. I keep telling them no probing. I won't. I like you know no. You know what everybody says whenever they get abducted. So I have jokes with them. I know they're just patiently waiting for me to like quit giving us limitations, but I know they exist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious if I have any kids up there. Like, I'm pretty sure that my youngest was assisted to stay in the womb, or they put him in the womb. I'm not really sure
Yeah,
because I remember when I was in Germany. I that's back when I thought I was a hottie toddy. Like somebody literally put their hands on my stomach whenever I was at a bar, and I got pregnant pretty soon after, or found out I was pregnant. So I'm pretty sure I might have kids up there because they're still kind of like working to see how I feel about it.
yeah, yeah. So have you? I don't know, because you have watched my show for a bit, but I don't know if you've watched it far enough back to where I had Christy Peterson on. Um,
Maybe not.
Christy
No.
Peterson, she's been on my show a couple of times. She is one of the foremost renowned people that NASA talks to about alien information, and she's here in Omaha, Nebraska, and she has a hybrid, and she talks about she tells her she has two like actual movies like documentaries that are out, and then she has a handful of books out. Um, but she talks about how she has a hybrid child, but she gets
Mm,
called up to um, to sit with her child because her child basically the other half of her, the alien life half of her, does not have the wherewithal for love and basically heart connection and stuff like that. So they call her up, and she basically holds on to her daughter, and you literally see the life color
yeah.
come back into her form. And then she gets to visit her daughter and hold her and give that heart connection and everything else. And then she comes back down. And she has to do that. I think she said like every 4 years or something like that is what she does. And she talks about that openly in her books and in her
Yeah.
documentaries and everything else. So it would be interesting to know if that's maybe what you've experienced that you're just not remembering. Maybe
I
a hybrid child that you just don't know about, or that you're just not remembering for some reason. It's a maybe you're not seeing it as a plus, but maybe it was enough to be a trauma to you, and you just haven't opened it up as a positive thing yet. So that's what they're waiting for, is for you to
right.
go
It
from
is.
a
Yeah.
trauma subliminally or subconsciously to,
Mhm.
hey, this is something you've done and you've given life. Now you need to start supporting that life. So just
I'd be down for it to be honest.
out loud.
And
So
it probably is trauma based because I was um molested as a child. So like I disconnected from my body before I was 1 years old.
mm,
And even just remembering that has been a journey, I'll say. So if I have more kids, please, I'm like they're that's where the dolphins they started working with me through Gaia. And I've been watching documentaries because I was like, okay, if they're not connecting, because I know when they do, like our imprints of our personality imprints on their personalities, if that makes sense, like the whole hive.
yeah,
So that's where I have to like cleanse out my gunk and my traumas. And I even asked them, like, okay, well, can y'all give me like a little teaser so I'm not rude and like freak out if I see y'all? So like
right,
they've been doing that through movies and stuff, and I'm more fascinated, so I'm open to it. I just keep telling them no butt stuff. So that's probably the
yeah,
the trauma like block, if that makes sense. I
yeah.
want to be abducted. I'm down for it.
And it's funny too because I am too. I've been open about it. I'm like you know what? I'm pretty sure that I am. I mean, I know I'm a star seed. I know I'm a multiple. Like
Hmm.
my DNA set is in different sets of star seeds. I know that my life path is in different star seeds and everything else. So I know
You're
it.
one of the originals,
Uh,
man. You're one of the originals.
yeah, and I'm just like, so I don't know what is stopping me from being allowed that visit again. Um,
You might not be ready. Like it may be for your protection. I know a lot of mine, like people just see me as an idiot and they're like, "Oh, we can do whatever we want with her cuz she doesn't get it." But I do get the shade. It's just I don't openly like cuss people out, even though I see their nature. I
yeah,
pray for them.
and
But
I
yeah,
and I'm not a shy, quiet person, and I have a filter and I have tact when I just choose to use it. But there is a reason that I'm the only person at work that when I go to different locations, my boss says, "Do not cause an international incident." It's simply because he knows stuff's going to happen. Um, uh,
that's cool.
so I'm kind of reading back on. Rosie said Tom is probably because probably scared of you. That's why they lock their doors when they fly by. So
Well,
um,
cuz you're a force. Like
yeah,
they know they won't get away with stuff that they do to me cuz I'm still learning to use my voice and be like, F you.
yeah. It's interesting how I am perceived before people talk to me.
Hmm.
It's and I tell people my appearance, everything I do is on purpose. My appearance is definitely on purpose. But when people and that's for me, that is a person's first test. If you are
Right.
willing to look past my appearance and approach me, which is I think why kids are always seems to be fascinated by me because they see me and
Hmm.
they don't see the outside appearance. They literally see the light, and
They see your soul.
they
Yeah.
stop and they just wave and they smile and it's funny how when Nikki and I walk through places, kids are just like, "Oh my, they're that guy. I want to see that guy." And but adults who have lost that ability or who just shut down because of everything that's been thrown at them at life have locked all that down. And
Yeah.
um, and I'm gonna brag a little bit about myself, but I'm kind of impressed that I have had the ability to kind of push through that. I have done very well as far as looking past that, um, just your outer shell. Um,
Yeah.
I always think there's more to it than what you see, but if I see you one way and then I talk to you and you just prove it because you've opened your mouth, well, now that's on you. Um,
Right.
so that's I've done my best to break through that first layer. In fact, it's a perfect learning experience. Nikki and I had that. There was someone that we go to Holistic Fest and Mystic Fest out here, and there's one person that I've always been put off by simply because the energy I felt from him. But he and a lot of times I get your energy when you open your mouth to speak. And I've never spoke to this individual, and I've always, unfortunately, had a preconceived notion of what I thought he was. And then
Hmm.
the last time we went to Holistic Fest, I purposely approached him because I wanted him to talk. As soon as he started talking, everything adjusted. And he's a very nice guy. And so I had to get rid of that first block that I initially saw with my eyes, um, and let everything else take over. And
Yeah.
that's what I think a lot of people don't do anymore. They just look and they're like, nope, not that guy. And
Right.
if they're to that point that that's what they look at me at, and they're like, no, not that guy, then cool. That's probably not who I need in my life right now.
Right. Well, that's your team keeping you safe because
Right,
you
right,
didn't need them in your field. Yeah. That's where I'm learning like all the people that I've met, not all of them were actually human.
yeah,
Like some of them only meant to do me harm and I'm just like, la, 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 hi, and they're like, hi.
how are
Yeah.
you doing? Yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
We
uh,
want you. Come here.
right.
Yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
uh, I'm going to kind of scroll back up because I missed a couple of comments. I'm going to contact back with what William's saying about the rocks because this is he's saying it to me, but this is a message for everybody. Tom, you have to let the rock choose you. Spirit will speak and connect you with that rock to use. I use bloodstone and granite. And then he also said, when you ask rock to bless you with teaching, you must ask it first to disclose your universe and name. Interesting enough, how do I'm asking William this, so
Yeah.
hopefully he'll understand because I know other people can ask the same question I am. how do I know, or how do I identify what the universe name is? Now, I've already been given um, like a name from my shamanic mentor, as far as tied to my spirit animal. But how do I understand or identify what my universe name will be? How will I understand that that is the name that is being given to me um, for a universe name? So I guess that's the best way to give that tonight to William, so he can answer questions. Um,
I'm curious too because I've been putting that out there too. I
I'm
want to know my real name.
Sarah. I'm skipping your question for right now, but I'm going to come back to it. Just I'm kind of covering some of the other just comments. Um, And Kelly said most of us have been breeders, a breeder of some sort. And Nikki said I was just going to ask about the kids. Um, um, Sarah's saying we need to come back on your show. I absolutely agree. All right, so I'm kind of catching up a little bit, but I want to go back up to the
Is
question.
it Sarah Watchhorn?
It's Sarah Sophia,
Ah, okay.
the one that's up there that's running from that's is part of the Canadian show that I keep talking about.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'll be looking her up because I love that.
Oh, so Sarah is asking. This will be interesting because you and I can have discussions on this. We'll see what we come up with. Thoughts on the drones and spears back in January,
Ooh, oh, like in are y'all talking about in the capital and stuff?
like over the New Jersey area and all the on
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
like
I
that.
think there's good and bad. It's what why are we afraid of them for one? Because they feed off of that. Um, I think they're both, just like humans. They can be good and bad. Just set the intention. You only want the good ones to be reaching out to you.
Do we
Is
think
how I do.
do we think the drones were human made, or do we think they were from outside sources?
I think they're both, to be honest, not myself. But what do
So
you think?
um,
What do you know? What can you tell us?
that's what I'm talking about.
Because I know when I lived in Colorado Springs, like I
Man.
could see the military, doing their invisible ones, but I could see them, so
Uh,
I
Sarah, knowing what I know for what I currently do for the government, I can tell you that they are man made drones. That's all I can tell you. I cannot tell you what they were being used for. I cannot tell you what they were doing. I can just tell you that they were drones,
hmm
but they were not being used for bad. I just can't tell you what they were being used for, but they were. Let's just say they're doing testings of some sorts for government reasons. So, but not bad ones. So that's the best I can tell you without you being able to be read into something and me not having to kill you if I told you the truth later. So, um, so for those people out there that look at this later and they watch it and everything else, and you're the one that think conspiracy theory, the drones are not. This set of drones was not. That's how I put that. This set of
yeah,
drones that people that started showing up in the sky and everything else, and miraculously, no government entity ever wanted to go check them out to see what they were doing. Kind of tells you who they were owned by. Um,
yeah.
they were not there for bad. They were there for good, but I can't tell you, excuse me, specifically what they were doing. So there you go. That's my take on those, for as much as I can say. Um, and Rosie said, "Oh, this is the look thing. I would talk with someone that looks like you before I talk with someone in a suit." That's fair. I've seen both sides. What's really interesting is when you put this in a suit. Then that's when people really start to worry. They're trying to figure out who they're protecting and who's about to get hit next. So yes, that's very interesting when you combine those two.
hmm
Um, Wendy, you talk with birds. What is the purpose of a pigeon?
What is their purpose?
Yeah, what
I
is it?
don't know, but I've been seeing them a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, I for me, pigeons are the flying versions of rats and vermin. They clean it up. They eat whatever. They eat everything, and they just clean up everything. And they're the flying version of a rat. Do people think they're disgusting? Absolutely. Why? Because they eat and do everything that rats do. But for me, the purpose is they're actually cleaners of of our earth because they kind of clean up the areas and
Mm-hmm.
take all the papers away and build nests with them and do everything else. And but they eat anything. I mean, so that's my take on them. So um,
I
that's,
like them all, to be honest.
yeah, that's my thought process. Um, Jenny's asking, I want to learn what spirit animal is myself. So I will tell you how I learned mine. Um, I learned mine simply because I asked what my spirit animal was. I asked if it would present itself to me. I already deep down knew what it was. And I asked, would it present itself to me? Could it show it to me in a vision? And it did. I knew that it was my spirit animal because I walked up onto it. It climbed off of the rock. It basically bowed to me, and I bowed back. And then we walked off together in my vision. So I knew that was my spirit animal. And
That's
I've
cool.
always known it, but it confirmed it in my vision. So, so you simply just ask.
Mm-hmm.
You may have to ask repeatedly, but if you're curious enough, it will present itself to you. Um, Nighthawk can confirm that if
Mm-hmm.
he thinks I'm correct on that. But I believe we had this discussion before, and that's how I told him mine showed up, and that's how mine appeared. So let's see. Kurt said a mix of both as far as the drones. So I just know the drones that I know that were out there. So it could have been a mix. Maybe they were just kind of hanging out with them, trying to blend in and saying, "Hey, we see all these drones. We're just going to be here." Um,
Well, yeah, because if you're not at the right frequency, you're not going to be able to see them.
right. And then going back to the universe name, Nighthawk said, "You will be told through vision and images during sleep to confirm your universe name. It will let you know when you are ready." So same thing as I did with the spirit animal. Apparently, it happens through
Mm-hmm.
vision as well.
Yeah.
Um, and Jerica says, if you could hear them, aren't they human made? She's talking about the drones. Not necessarily.
Oh.
Um, not necessarily. Um, in the attempt to blend with human, they have mimicked us very well. Just
Mm-hmm.
like creatures, beings that are on this planet that present themselves as humans that are not, they have identified to blend in very well to mimic what they see. And same thing with the drones. So Sarah says, "What about the spears watching?" Um, that one, I'm a little more unfamiliar with. Is the best way I can say that. I knew about the drones, but not about the spears watching. So I don't have an answer for that one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think they're all bad.
yeah, I don't
I
think so.
know there are some that are bad, but I don't think right now they're allowed to be. Like, this isn't their time.
Okay.
They're getting cut off, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Sticking with the drones,
Mm-hmm.
Kathy said, I heard they were looking for nuclear weapons. Uh,
Mm.
that's what a
Yeah,
lot.
they're not allowed.
That's what a lot of people heard. I'll just leave it at that. That's what a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people heard.
Well, they're not allowed to use them anymore. I know that.
And
The
Jerica,
ripple effect, yeah.
yeah, and Jerica says, were they a distraction for when the real ones come? People don't freak out so much. Um, no, they had a purpose. They were doing a job for a reason. It was not just to make sure that we were ready for any alien force that showed up in whatever they show up in that we're able to identify. This wasn't just a distraction to see how we reacted to it. They were actually used for a reason. Um, Nikki is responding to Jenny, so I want to read this one because she talked about this. Um, so I asked my spirit team to show me over and over what my spirit bird was. That week I saw eagles often and I heard songs that had eagles in them. One of my drives, my Google Maps took me away and I passed a yard ornament. I have to read it out from here. Um, uh, that was an eagle. Then I asked my spirit team to show me another spirit animal and I had a dream of bears. So, yes, so she's asking the questions, she's getting her animals. So that works. Uh-oh.
Those are strong and mighty, too. Yeah, I
Oh, this
love
is going to go an interesting way. So Jenny's going to bring up something that I have heartache with. How about the orbs, though, or plasma balls that glowed. Um, and Sarah said the plasma balls that were following the drones. Um, again, man-made, but I can't tell you what they were used for. But they were man-made.
Stay tuned.
How's that? I can't tell you, unfortunately, but they were man-made, so don't worry about those. Sarah says we have seagulls. Absolutely, seagulls. Seagulls are the waterway side of pigeons, as far as I'm concerned. They eat and do everything. They help keep it clean. Being from the West Coast, I'm used to seagulls all over the place, and anything that was dropped, I don't care if it was food or not. If you dropped it, they tried to eat it, and then realized it wasn't food, and they just carried it off somewhere else. Um, and Nikki's responding to that same thing. She said, "I thought that was our geese on our lake. They are the flying rat." So yes, a lot of different things. Oh, Kelly said communication is pigeons. Yes, very good. And that ties all the way back to when they were carrier pigeons and stuff like that. So people can think of them like that. Hmm. Kurt, um, do either of you have any experience with owls? Just curious. I've heard a good bit of info about them and how mysterious they can be, but maybe I'm wrong. Do you want this one first?
They're one of my spirit animals, anyways.
Want to
Like
take this one first, then?
whenever I come across them, I know change is coming, but they're very protective. And like according to my cards today, it's connected to Lilith, I guess, on that spirit realm. Um, I try not to give. I don't know. I'm still waiting for them to tell me. I'm trying not to learn. But what do you know?
So owls carry messages different ways.
Mm-hmm.
It So I can do a whole show on owls. I'm not going to. I'm just going to give a synopsis. Um, but understand that owls, the color of the owl, the size of the owl, how it shows up to you, whether it's flying, whether it's sitting, whether it's, what it's on. Is it on something that belongs to you? Is it just something that's on a tree limb or anything else? They all have different meanings. The colors of them have different meanings. Some of them are tied to good. Some of them are tied to knowledge. Some of them are tied to warnings. So there's a lot of different meanings behind the owls. But you kind of have to take not just the fact that you saw a white owl. Um, you have to take in the knowledge that you saw a white owl sitting outside your back porch on on the first limb of the lowest oak tree, or something along those lines. You can very much break down those messages to be very specific on what the description is of what the owl is and what it is doing at the time, to get a fully integrated understanding of what that message is from that owl.
Can
So,
I ask you a question then? What if it's a white owl that's just it's I don't want to say flying because it was hovering in it was just in one place, but it was flapping its wings at me, and it was white, but it was almost like looking at the sun, and it was just I was like, well, and then I got distracted by this guy who wanted to pray. So what does that mean?
so understand that the white owl, for most part, literally means messaging. You're going to be receiving a message. Um, Now, normally a white owl that is sitting and staring at you, uh,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes will reveal that it is a negative form of message or something you didn't want the answer to be the way it was. But if
Mm-hmm.
it's a message that is flapping or is flying, it is a message that is going to be coming to you soon. But it kind of ties into earlier we discussed. It's interesting. It was kind of hovering, sitting still, because normally when an owl passes by you and it flies by you, it basically means it's sending you a message. It's going to receive quickly, but you have to be paying attention to it.
Oh,
So yours just hovering may mean that it's going to tell you the message more than once. You have to be paying attention.
okay,
But the white owl is very much a
that makes
messenger
sense.
owl.
Okay,
The gray
yeah, it
owl,
was the most amazing thing.
it's funny because a lot of people tie the white owl to the knowledge owl. That's actually the gray owl. The gray owl is your
Gotcha.
knowledge owl. And it just depends on what they're doing, on what kind of knowledge you're going to gain, and whatever else, stuff like that. But it just each piece of it has a message, of
Okay.
what it's trying to tell you. So
So I need to quit being dense so I can
so
understand.
So, Kurt, hopefully that helps. It's just a broad brush of what I'm able to tell you right now in this little bit of time about owls. But yes, there's many, many messages that you can
Yeah.
receive from owls based off of many different things. I threw this up there really quick, but I want to read it for those who are not watching, they're just listening. Nighthawk said, "Pigeons teach you that our Earth Mother, uses all our gifts to work together for the good of all. Everything has a purpose."
I like that.
And Kurt is responding to when we talked about the drone and the beings that are here that mimic us. I'm trying to read back to the messages that we talked about before, and he's saying, "I have heard that about 90% mimicry, but there's always a sight or sound that's just a bit off. There is. It's if you really want to know a lot about this, I would very much advise you to pay attention to William Nighthawk's shows. He does a lot talking about these types of items. Um, what some people consider conspiracy theories, he actually has like proofs of them, and he discusses them. He talks about what's here on Earth with us that are not human and how they basically make us think we're doing what's correct, but it's literally falling into what they want us to do.
Right.
There's a lot of
Mind control.
things that if you listen to Nighthawk's shows, go back and watch his recordings and stuff like that, you will absolutely love listening to Nighthawk's information. It's fantastic. So I would tell you to catch them if
Cool.
that's what you're looking for, that type of information. Follow William Nighthawk. All right. Um,
I'll do that because somebody's already actually trying to like kidnap me and take over my identity already. Yeah.
um, so I got a lot of messages.
No, please. Yeah.
Kurt saying, "This is why I don't do CE5 or Ouija board or anything like that. I never know who or what spirit entity will show up at my doorstep. Most evil ones play nice to get away inside your world. Absolutely, they do.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. They smile and teach you too. Yeah.
they do. And one of the most fantastic abilities I have learned that I have is I have a very unique ability that when I hear a voice, or 99% of the time, when you walk into a room, and I say 99% because that one person proved me wrong. When you walk into a room, I know if you're good or bad, or I know if you have good intentions or poor intentions. But as soon as you open your mouth to speak, I know. There's no doubt
Oh
about
yeah, I've seen you do it with an old teacher. I was like, frick
it.
yeah.
Yeah, there's
Frick
stuff that
yeah.
it's kind of nice to have.
Mm-hmm.
Rosie's saying hello to your puppy, so she's saying hello,
Oh
puppy.
hi, Haley. Rosie says hi.
Rosie said owls are messages for me. Um, uh,
Yeah, I even have a friend whenever I reach out to her, there's always an owl that goes off whenever I talk to her. She's like, why is there always an owl when I talk to you?
right. Yeah, just like Malgram might have said, maybe they were trying to see what attracts them, and maybe trying to replicate to get a tag along. Curious if there's any nuclear materials on the man-made drones. No, there were not. Um, that's a simple answer. No. Thank you. Sarah's saying great live, enjoying this. Um, Nikki's calling me out for my saying I can do whole podcast on owls because I'm
I
very
gotcha.
I'm very terrible about actually doing audio podcasts. Even though I have an podcast platform, I end doing my video ones and I just don't put any of the audio ones out. So now she's making fun of me saying, "Don't hold your breath, Rosie. The podcast will happen as soon as the podcast on elementals happens." Well, the podcast on elementals has already happened. So
Hey, yeah, you're the one who opened my eyes to like while I was driving to start realizing the different I I know I keep saying trees, but like even they had different personalities. Like you opened me up to that one.
yeah,
Even water spirits. It was really cool.
yeah, they're all related, but a lot of them come to a lot of them are like cousins to each other based off of
Right,
where they're located at and what their surroundings are and stuff like that, just like us.
right.
Um, and Rosie says the message depends on which way the owl is looking for her. Kelly,
Ooh.
hi Kelly. Kelly says one of her spirit guides is an owl, the other is a red-tailed hawk. Fantastic.
Ooh.
Um, Kurt saying I believe that makes sense, Tom. Thanks, brother. I'm always full of questions. Sorry for asking so many. Absolutely. Don't ever apologize.
Never apologize. No.
I may or may not have an answer for. I will always try to do my best to answer them for you. If not, this is what I love about the family is there's so many people that are in my audience that I call my family that they have answers as well. This
Hmm.
platform is definitely a learning platform. This is definitely a learning community. I love putting people on here and I love having the family because there's so many people that are much more knowledgeable than I am that they can answer the question if I can't. So this is why I appreciate it. A Nighthawk, coming back to the owl, says warnings of bad things to come, death, famine, injury, or some form of negative coming to you. Um,
Mm.
so
That makes
said,
sense.
Kelly said your owl was giving you a warning. A change is
Yeah.
about to happen to you. Mr. Bill Slevin, what's up, Bill? How you doing, brother? That is actually our director for Paranormal Existence Research Society. He is actually out in Florida with, Kelly. Kelly up here. Kelly Ladd is actually the one who is part of the Georgia team. She's also part of the Paranormal Systems Research Society with us as well. So we're all kind of.
Yeah. It was Georgia where the white owl was, and it was,
Oh well, there you
I
go. Look
even,
at
yeah,
that. It was in
yeah.
Georgia.
Ew.
Um,
And something bad did happen after that. Three of them.
and
Yeah.
there you go. See, Kelly says a small white female owl spoke and asked me to care for my son before I conceived. So perfect. That was
Oh,
her message for that. Um,
that's so sweet.
I'm trying to come down here because I get a lot of. There's a lot of highs to people saying hi, hi, hi type of stuff. So, uh,
And believe me, ask all the questions. That's how I got on the show because I would never shut up.
and it's interesting. So Daryl says, "What do you think about a purple Martian that comes to your window, looking in and peek at it sometimes?" Well,
Ooh,
you're being visited.
right?
If it is okay, now my head just went straight crazy. If you are being visited more than once, you have a message coming to you. Um, if it is not making direct contact to you, it is only letting you see it. You are not ready for that message yet. I don't know if that's what you're getting as well, Wendy, but this is what I'm getting: is that conversation that you are seeing it, it is allowing you to see it. Um, you are recognizing it's there, but you are not ready to receive what it wants you to receive yet. Stand by. So that's
Right.
what I get from that. So thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. She said, Thomas, so gifted. Um,
Yes,
hey,
ma'am.
that's Miss Sandy Souza. Hi, Sandy. How are you? Um, Nikki says she heard a loud chirp earlier. She thought it was from your side.
From
Uh,
my side?
yes, that's what she said. From your side, Wendy. That's what she said.
Oh,
Sarah
did it
asked,
have a message?
Sarah, I don't know. She just heard the chirp. It sounded like a loud bird chirping, is what she said.
I
Uh,
wake up to birds
was,
every morning. It's
was
amazing.
it the same time we were talking about the owl? Nikki, ask that question.
Yeah,
How do I follow Wendy? How do I follow Wendy? That's what someone's asking. So,
like on Facebook or
I believe so. Um,
yeah, it's under the Wendi Boelke from the B as in boy
I'll
Oelke.
just do this.
Yeah, or you
Wendy.
can email me too. But if you look, I have Instagram and stuff too. I'm still learning all that stuff.
Yep. So I just
I'm
typed
trying to.
and it's popping. It's going to populate
Oh,
under
you rock!
all the different
Thank
paths.
you.
So it says Wendy Belke. That's how you're going to be able to spell it. That's how you look her up, and you'll see this beautiful face right there pop up. When you see her pop up there, you'll see her with darker hair compared to what she has right now.
Right, right, right.
So, um,
I went through a transformation. Yeah.
uh, I did talk about William Nighthawk's show earlier, and so he's saying I will teach about mimics very soon. Good talk, everyone. Much love to you all. Got a ceremony date with the moon tonight. Much love, brother. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
He's probably going to do a
Strong moon.
he's probably going to do a fire ceremony tonight for the full moon. So that
I
will
did
help.
it 2 days ago. Yes.
He's very good.
Scorpio. Oh
So,
yeah.
okay. So when if he's not still on here, I just want people to recognize William Nighthawk does these ceremonies like this, but he also does stuff such as ceremonies for people who have to come up against stuff like Wendigos or stuff like that. How to prepare to fight them, how to prepare
Yes, I'm
to deal with them and stuff like that. So he has that ability to also prep people for stuff like that as well. So
okay. I'll be going because
just
I
so you
know. Yeah,
can
my family
well.
is
There you
went
go.
to the dark side, so
And
I
so
got to break all that.
anyone who asked right here, Nikki has posted your information, facebook.com/Wendi.Boelke, so that
Thank
way you
you,
know how to
Nikki.
follow her on Facebook. So,
Yeah, because I have a lot of ancestral stuff I have to break. Because apparently, like my maternal side, they made agreements with the devil, and I am anti-devil, or I believe in him, but I do not follow him. Like, he's yeah,
yeah,
if that makes sense. But
uh,
they're around me. I know that.
yeah, exactly. I agree with that. That's what
Yeah,
I'm seeing too.
like people always think that I'm negative, and they're really just feeling it in my blood.
It's tied to that bloodline. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, Rosie asked, I'm asking you too, but
Mhm.
because I know my answer is no. But we just talked about your downloads. Do you sweat when you get a lot of downloads, or anyone? She said,
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
I just don't. They just download on me, and I just get that really cool humming in my ear
I
um,
get that too.
for a
Yeah.
long time. At one point, I think I sat here and Nikki and I kind of talked about it, and it was um, like it went for minutes. It wasn't just like it was like 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, it is still going. It is still going. It is still going. It was kind of cool. But yeah, but I
That's
don't. But I know
cool.
some people. Excuse me, Rosie. I know some people do.
Mhm.
I think for me, it's just I always take in a lot of knowledge anyway, so I think that's just how it is for me.
Yeah.
Um, for you, Kelly says you saw 3 white owls in Georgia. Your change is still coming, and not necessarily bad stuff. People may disagree with me, but change isn't always a bad thing. I don't see negative. You have good energy around you, and I would agree with that.
Oh,
And that's why
thank you, Kelly.
I saw the white owl. To me, that was a positive sign for you. It was a good sign.
Oh,
But
thank
it
you.
is messaging, and that's why it sat there to let you know, hey, stand by, something's coming.
Yeah.
Ajang, because this is going back to the bird chirp, Ajang says, Tom and Wendy, 24 years ago, I experienced several times hearing the sounds of birds, and I felt a sign, the presence of the spirit, while my brother-in-law kept many birds. So the sound for her was a sign or a signal of a spirit. So that is fantastic.
Yeah, my daddy, he goes through birds. That's how he even flies with me. That's how I know I'm super duper protected.
So I'm wondering if that's the bird chirp that Nikki heard
Oh,
was
yeah. If anybody has a message for me or can translate, please,
yeah.
like,
So I mean
that'd
but
be amazing.
that may be what the chirp was, letting you know that someone was there with you at the time that we're doing the show.
Yeah, because I have my dad's his ashes with me. I just told him like you have to stay in the back seat because
Well,
he wasn't awake. He
that
didn't remember who he was, but he was Archangel Michael
well
in
that
the body form.
but that may have been that chirp. It's him just because if you talked to him beforehand, you let him know you're going to be on the show, and you said something to him, that chirp may have just been the recognition. Hey, by the way, I'm here.
Oh, thank
So
you, Daddy.
that's how I would perceive that as.
Okay.
Okay, I am going to shut the show down. I know we've been going for an hour and 33 minutes. So like I
Oh
said,
wow. Hey, I got the gift of gab. I'll tell you.
yeah, oh no, and I'm fine with that. But the good news is that my show continues on, so that means you get to come back another time,
Okay.
and we get to do this all again with folks. But for my own sanity, and I kind of really my I am apologizing to my wife right now if she is humming upstairs because I am hitting on all cylinders and my head is just going nuts um,
Same. Yeah.
because we jumped so many topics.
Yeah.
Um, it triggered a lot of
Well, you
synapses.
are very connected. Yeah.
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 Rosie just called me a party pooper. So, yeah.
Hey, I would love to come back and I'll ask my team, like, please download me a little faster so I can be of service because there were so many things I wanted to talk about that. Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
I love it.
Daryl states, speaking of birds, a couple weeks past now, I heard birds at night, but birds don't do that, right? Birds do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for predator purposes, they are normally quiet at night. Birds will make noises when they are interacting with each other at night if they are in locations with the other same birds because that is their connection to each other, forming their protection barrier. We don't hear it that often, but there are times when that happens. Just so
Yeah.
you are aware, that is them talking to each other, kind of like, "You good? Cool. I'm good over here too. Yep. Anything? No. All right. Cool. We're good over here too." Um, I'm gonna come through these as well because the Zhang's like, I also once heard the sound of a bird that I didn't recognize what bird it was, but at that night, my son woke up and hugged me in fear, and 2 days later, one of our relatives died. So she had a message from a carrier bird that, or a carrion bird that was actually sending her a message. Um,
Mm,
Carrion, Carrion, the kind of the birds of prey, the birds of death, the birds of whatever. That's what that was that you heard. I'm literally seeing it in my head as you said it, Ajang, because I can do that with you. Ajang and I have this very weird connection, even though she's my sister, I'm her brother, but not through blood, but through everything else. And when she types me something, like when a lot of people say stuff, I can literally watch you walking through it. And I can do that just by her typing too. So I can actually see where she was when the bird made the sound and and what happened. I can literally see um, her son
that's cool.
to her and everything else and stuff like that and what happened. So we kind of have that connection, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool. So
Well, love is more strong than blood.
absolutely.
Right.
Everyone's saying goodnight and thank you. So there's a lot of great show. Thank you. There is also thank you, great show. And then we have thanks to both, great show. Appreciate both your times. Kurt, absolutely fantastic. Wendy, I'm so glad that you came on as a guest and we got to see your
Same.
beautiful face and beautiful energy.
Thank
Kelly,
you.
love the show. Thank you. Eight Finger Fred, thank you. Thanks, Tom. Anybody who is curious about more, remember that we did put Wendy's information inside of the chats, so you can go in there, pull energy, or you can pull email from her.
Yeah, don't pull energy from me.
Um, if
Sorry.
there is anything that you want to ask her, but you just don't have a way to get in touch with her or anything else, contact me. I'll contact her. I'm
Yeah,
not.
for sure.
I'm not a shy, quiet person. I'm very much in touch with all of my past guests. We are now all family, and they just randomly get messages from me saying hi, I hope you're doing, having a great day, everything else. Um, so don't be shy about asking the questions. If you have anything after this that you want to ask me, um, you know how to get a hold of me. Actually, I will throw that up there on how to get a hold of me. There's all my wonderful stuff on the bottom. I made it simple for absolutely everybody because I had to make it simple for myself. Everything falls under stuff I never learned. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, Kick, and my email is all under stuff I never learned. Email is stuff I never learned at gmail.com. So if you have anything for me, send it out there. I'll answer it as best I can. Other than that, everybody, have a great evening. I'm going
Yeah.
to let you go, and I'm going to close the show down by letting them know who I have on next. But I want to say thank you again for coming on. Um, I,
Sure.
I loved having you on. Like I said, hour 40 minutes
Thank you.
flew by like nothing. So,
Like that. Yeah.
yeah. So, but you're more than welcome to come back. I know I will see you back in the audience when the other shows come on, so we'll still be in touch anyways. But other than that, I want you to have a great night, and I will be in contact with you again a little bit later. All right?
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks.
See you later. All right, everyone, that's the show. I have to, of course, look because I don't remember anything um, about who's on my show next and when my next show is. So let me pull this up really quick. My phone is not wanting to play well with others. Oh, there we go. Um, maybe. Trying to find my actual. Hmm. Interesting. I don't see my guest list. Um, I'll have to find it. Oh, there it is. Just kidding. Stand by. Stand by. Um, let's see. What was today? Today was the 12th of May. So 19 May, I have on Kelly Schaefer. Kelly Schaefer. I have been following Kelly Schaefer online for quite some time. We're friends on Facebook. She is just a wonderful woman. And I think you really enjoy a lot of the information she has. What she's been doing for quite some time. And I think it'll be another fantastic conversation and a really good opportunity for ask questions when you're talking to Kelly, just like it is with everybody else. But other than that, do me a favor for the rest of the week. Stay safe. Much love. Um, Contact me if you need me. Like, follow, share, because I'm still trying to grow the community. I'm so happy we have so many people that are following us. But again, I think the more people we have on, even when we're all together like this, if we have more people on, even if it's just in the audience, because I love my audience. You all are my family. We still get the chance to learn from each other. And the more people we have in the audience, the more people that can actually answer the questions that maybe I'm just blind to or just don't have the answer to, but someone else does. So other than that, much love. Take care. Have a great week. Love you all.